There's always the barbershop talk. You know what I'm saying? Which one is their best album?
Yeah.
Which one is their favorite? So on and so forth. We want you to rate your album.
Okay.
Alrighty, which one is your favorite album?
Yes.
That's the order right there?
Yes.
From which way to which way, though?
This way to that way.
From Section 80 on?
Section 80 on that way.
This is being the best.
Damn is the best?
Yeah.
So you agree with your mama?
Now that the long-awaited double album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is released, I think it's the perfect time for me to share my thoughts on his discography as a whole, and do one of these tier lists that young people like to post on social media. I've been a fan of Kendrick for almost 10 years now. Good Kid, M.A.A.D City put me onto his music. Didn't really know him at the time he dropped Section 80, which happens to be the first album in line in this tier list. At first I wasn't really a fan of most of the production on here. The drums were too soft for my personal tastes, but some of the beats did grow on me. Content-wise, there wasn't really much to complain. Great concepts, wordplay, storytelling, especially on Keisha's song, which is my favorite track on the album. Rigor Mortis, Fuck Your Ethnicity and ADHD are dope too in my opinion. I'm not gonna spoil you the content of each song or what the stories are all about, but I suggest you check them out yourself. The album lacks standout tracks or hits in my opinion. And no, I don't mean radio hits or club bangers necessarily, but songs that you would consider top tier, memorable, outstanding, on the level of rap songs you would immediately think of when somebody asks you for the best rap songs of all time. Keisha's song is great, but I don't think it's anywhere near my top 100 rap songs list, and neither are the majority of tracks on here. That being said, I still enjoyed the album, but it took me quite some time for it to grow on me. I think I would put it in B tier. To Pimp A Butterfly. Most modern rap fans consider this one a classic, and I loved this album too when it came out. It was the best rap album of the 2010s for me, for a long time. If you had asked me to do this tier list a few years ago, I would have definitely put it in the S tier category. Right now I'm kinda torn between S and A tier, mainly because of the lack of replay value on some of the songs on the album. When I first heard it, it was a great listen from front to back, top to bottom. It felt like the project was just one lengthy song, more jazzy than the previous albums, made use of soul samples and goes more in the direction of experimental hip-hop, which I'm personally not a big fan of, but on this album it somehow worked. With Kendrick you get deep, political and introspective tracks, especially on this album. I mean, Section 80 was already conscious rap, but this just took it a little further, and also had standout tracks like King Kunta, I and All Right. The man actually ranked this album over Section 80 and below Damn and Good Kid, M.A.A.D City. There's a reason why it's not one of his favorite albums. And it's not my personal number one either, at least not in 2022. Most of the songs on here get outshined and almost sound boring compared to other songs from different artists if you listen to it, let's say, in a shuffled playlist. It almost feels like the songs only work if they're played together, back to back, so when you only listen to the album from start to finish. Or else they sound mediocre, with the exception of like 3 songs. I don't have the same problem with other albums that are considered classics. There have been times when I didn't even want to listen to the album. The toxicity and obsession of Kendrick stans might have contributed to that a little. Seeing how much love and praise this album gets subconsciously increased my expectations for it. It has to be number 1, top 2, or at least top 5, and if not, then your opinion is objectively wrong. And every time I re-listen to the album, I end up liking it less and less. The toxicity of Kendrick stans is second to none. Every other opinion gets ridiculed and bashed, even half a decade later when you already moved on with your life and have an entirely different view on it. Everything I say is kinda set in stone, and my opinions never change. That's what a lot of people have thought about me for the past half a decade. I know some people made themselves a reputation for being a quote-unquote unbiased reviewer, but I personally never claimed to be one. We are all biased in some way, shape or form, especially when it comes to art and music, which is all subjective. And we are all affected by our surroundings, our constantly changing mood, different phases in life, and of course our constantly evolving tastes and expectations. This whole channel just reflects my opinion, and nothing else. For the record, I stopped enjoying most of the albums I praised on the top 20 lists I've been posting since 2017. I would even consider some of them mediocre and not worth my time for a re-listen. But To Pimp A Butterfly has to be number 1. And yeah, that kind of ruined the album for me. Cause I can think of hundreds of albums that I prefer. I still go back to a few songs like Alright, The Blacker the Berry, King Kunta, although I have to say that I prefer Mouseburg's Get Naked, which was a song that Kendrick sampled, and every time I hear it, my brain constantly makes these comparisons. So I can't even enjoy King Kunta the way I used to. Same goes for the rest of the album. Decent songs, but I lost interest in them. And it's harder for me to get through the album every time I listen to it. Most of the songs on there are not even in my playlist anymore. So right now I would put To Pimp a Butterfly in A tier. Maybe I'll regain some of my interest in the album in the future. Who knows? Good Kid, M.A.A.D City has always been a close second for me. But right now, as I'm recording this, I have it over To Pimp a Butterfly. And there are two reasons for it. Number one, the album didn't grow off me like To Pimp a Butterfly. And number two, there are more top tier rap songs that I go back to with a higher replay value. And with top tier rap songs, I mean songs that sonically sound good, even after repeatedly listening to them for years. Meaning, deepness, lyrical complexity, storytelling, To Pimp a Butterfly is definitely superior in all of those aspects. But I don't just listen to songs just cause they're lyrical. At the end of the day, it's music, and not just text for me to analyze. If the songs don't sound good or don't stand the test of time, then I don't bother going back to them, even if it's quote-unquote a lyrical masterpiece. Cause there's so much top-tier music out there in all genres. I don't want to hear songs that are just alright, or not bad, decent. I want my playlist to be filled with the best of the best. And usually it's songs that are both lyrical and pleasing to the ears at the same time. I can find more songs of that kind on Good Kid, M.A.A.D City than on To Pimp a Butterfly. A lot of Kendrick fans don't seem to understand that when I'm criticizing their favorite songs, especially on the newest album, I'm looking forward to great lyrics, great beats, dope concepts, catchiness, great vocal performance, and a high replay value. All at once. Don't cherry pick one aspect and think that I'm overlooking something. The songs on Good Kid, M.A.A.D City that have all those things at the same time are Money Trees, M.A.A.D City, Swimming Pools, Compton, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, and the bonus track The Recipe. So anyway, S tier for Good Kid, M.A.A.D City. I just posted a video on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, so I'm not gonna talk about it in detail. But to sum it up, I like the message of the album, but I didn't enjoy the overall sound of it. I listened to it like 7 times and I'm already tired of most of the songs on the album, including Savior, which I actually praise in the video. I think I already explained you enough what I expect from a song. A great message ain't enough for me to have a song on repeat. I was definitely disappointed after waiting 5 years for it, while constantly being told by a million people that I'm a moron for not having him in my top 5. I saw a lot of people crying cause I didn't like the album, and I kinda regretted that I posted the video after seeing everybody in tears. But it's my opinion, you know? I never pretended to like something just cause it's the cool thing to do, and cause it's the opinion of the majority. If you expect me to lie to you, and to like and dick ride everything new that comes out, without any critical thought, then I'm sorry to disappoint you. That will never happen. I saw a lot of people getting bashed for publicly expressing their opinion, and for disliking the album. Just want to let the people know that they're not the only ones who feel a certain way about the album. Cause I don't like seeing people get bullied on social media by toxic stans just cause they don't share their opinion. And I kinda became a scapegoat for all the toxic stans. Kendrick is not above criticism, and somebody had to speak up. The video wouldn't have come out if it wasn't for the stans. Anyway, Die Hard is the best song on the project. Father Time is dope too, but the rest just lacks sonically compared to all his other material. A lot of you guys agreed with me that it's far from his best work. The title I chose for the video was a little harsh of course, but the overall rating I gave at the end was fair in my opinion. Mid or below mid are probably better terms to describe my feelings on the album. Content-wise, there wasn't much to complain for me, aside from a few bars that I spoke about in the video. Some of the topics on this album are writer's block, his insecurities, trauma, depression, COVID-19, his reasons for his absence from music, his daddy issues, political correctness. He also got very personal about some of his family members, like his aunt, mother, his daughter, had a song about a fight between a couple, and another one for the LGBTQ community. Probably his most introspective and heartfelt lyrics, on paper at least. But sonically it didn't sound all that great to me, like for example his beat selection. I had a problem with his delivery, his sleepy flow, vocal performance, and overall after listening to it 7 times, I like it less and less every time I hear it. And there wasn't really a song on the album that is on the level of Money Trees, M.A.A.D City, Swimming Pools, Alright, Humble, DNA, or King Kunta. Not in terms of replayability, standout vocal performance, beats, and I don't think most of you guys would put any of the songs in a top 50 greatest rap songs of all time list. Most of you agreed that the main selling points of the album are the introspective, deep, and personal lyrics. He wrote essays on why the writing is genius, while admitting that the sound isn't really all that great. Basically agreeing with all my criticism. I never said that his storytelling or pen game in general is weak, aside from a few lines of course, or that I don't like the message. I mean, it's Kendrick. He always got praised on this channel, and now people call me a Lil Pump fan for not liking the album. At the end of the day, it's just music. You still need to be able to enjoy it sonically, without becoming too analytical, and without deconstructing the album with 5-page essays on what Kendrick really meant with each line and metaphor. And no, Kendrick's lyrics are not too complicated for me to understand, like some people claim. I overanalyze lyrics all the time. If a song doesn't sound great, then it doesn't make sense to me to argue with people on why a song is great on paper, and how that makes a song sound automatically better. I don't listen to music just because I like the message. I'm not one of those people who read through the lyrics just to find one line that will convince them that the song's dope. I have to feel the music first before analyzing the bars and the deeper meaning. But I did it for Kendrick nonetheless. It's not like his bars went over my head. A great meaning to a song is what a cherry is to a cake. The cake can of course be improved if the cherry is on top, but if you don't like the taste of the cake itself, then no matter what kind of topping you choose, it will always be subpar and inferior to a great cake without toppings. A bad present in high quality wrapping paper. Me personally, I want both a great cake and nice toppings at the same time. That's what I call a 10 out of 10 dessert. I don't care about your thought process, how you painted a picture, if the painting looks bad in the end. You can go ahead and write an essay on how you used 100 different colors for your painting, 50 different paintbrushes, how you've given each line you painted a name, how you used a special kind of paper, painted it hanging upside down from a ceiling with weights on your hands. It doesn't change the fact that I don't like your painting. Only if I do like the final product, then it makes sense that we geek out on the details. I hope I wasn't too metaphorical. It just wasn't my cup of tea, but I can understand if you enjoyed it. Just don't say shit like it's objectively a 10 out of 10. And don't try to force people into liking it. These stands ruin the experience for everybody. Just listen to the album, share your thoughts, be respectful, and don't cry if people don't enjoy it to the same degree as you. Maybe it'll grow on me over the next few months or years. Considering the score I gave in my last video, I'll put it in C tier. Next album is Damn. When it first came out, I would have put it in A tier. It was one of my favorite albums in 2017. But a lot of songs on here didn't age well in my opinion. The album is kinda mid to me in 2022. Songs that I still like after 5 years of listening to it are Humble, DNA, Element and Fear. The rest grew off me and I will not go back to any of them. Let me put this one in B tier. Better than Section 80 as the standout songs are more catchy, have a better production, vocal performance and lyrical content. Although I have to admit that Humble can get pretty repetitive and annoying over time. Untitled Unmastered didn't have any standout tracks. Not really worth checking out if you want to jump straight to his best work. And if you're not necessarily a Kendrick fan. It's just a collection of unreleased demos during the recording of the Pimp A Butterfly. Not trash, but I'm not feeling it. And definitely didn't put any of the songs in my playlist. I'll put it in C tier, behind Kendrick's new album. And that's it for the ranking. Let me know how you would rank these albums. And also tell me which artist I should rank next. See you in the next video.